Okay, my friends, exploring the unexplained, and here's another one. This is the yellow brick road they found at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, and this is very, very deep. This is what they're calling the yellow brick road. Now, we're going to look at it pretty close. They have a little video here about it. And it says it looks like it's paved with what looks like yellow bricks. Now this is something like 9,000 feet down. It's over a mile. 3,000 meters below the waves. 3,000, well, it's like 9,000 feet. That's a mile and a half, or almost 2 miles. And anybody can watch this. And here's the video. Now that's the spot right there. And it doesn't go much longer than that, and then it sort of gets all frayed up again. But if you look at this very carefully, you can see that there's fractures in here that don't line up with what you would expect to be a brick road. All right, there's kind of wobbly things going on. But I am going to show you, I believe this is literally some skin from some kind of a creature. And you see how these tiles are thin like this? They're the same thickness everywhere. And it didn't just fall there like a slick of mud, and then it just cracked up in all those cracks, which they might say that, and I really can't say it absolutely didn't. But I am going to show you something that indicates unlikely that it did. Now, if you focus in carefully at the patterning, you'll see it's a little bit crazed. You could see that was not made with uniform bricks in any way whatsoever. So what did happen there? Well, let's think about it. This is absolutely amazing. I was just doing the video on those Neolithic stone balls, and Nadine, a friend, sends me this. And they're claiming that these, I'll tell you what they claim about it, but these are the balls that they're seeing. They say the fact they use these spherules as well, there were countless trillions of these spherules all over the place. Now let's see what they had to say about them, what they think they are. You see this? I study this very well. I know exactly what this guy's going to be talking about. He's going to be talking about these interstitium balls. Now, you see how this is very, very magnified? That's what's in your skin and in your tissues, so that you can flex and all that, and they'll come back to where those balls are anchored. There is billions of them in us. They're everywhere. And that allows your body to do all that and come back to where they're anchored. They're on little straps. Now this is why I know so much about this, and I can brag about knowing it, because I discovered this layer right here, which is the fluid-filled highway. They always thought that was just a flat sheet, because by the time I autopsied them, the fluids were out of there. So they saw it as like a flat sort of a cellophane. And that sits right on top of where you have all your white blood cells, and you have your factories that make enzymes. And they put them right in here. So you got your skin coming down to here. Skin is not you can deal with skin getting punctured. It's not a big deal. Once you get past this layer, you're into those interstitium balls. You see them? They're everywhere. Can you see that? And that's an actual picture of what it looks like in there. Now, those eroded out, and they're all over the earth. And the tiniest ones that they're saying rain drown from the atmosphere, I don't agree with that. There's trillions of them, yes, because when the black ooze was laid down was when we had the boiling oceans, when Venus hit. Not when they hit the Yucatan. The Yucatan is not an impact crater, in my opinion. We were almost hit by Venus. It may have smashed into that area. That's a possibility, but it bounced off and kept going, and at the same time, it destroyed the Earth. You know, this is literally crazy. She just sent this to me. Now listen to what he has to say. After what I just showed you about the Neolithic balls, those were the big ones. Now, I believe those were related to the Titans. The ones he's talking about, that's just the black ooze, are related to the giants, which are not the Titans, but they had big balls. Because he's going to show them. They're not gigantic. The Titans had really big balls. So listen to what he has to say. Let me turn this up to make sure that it is audible, as we say. Are you ready? He's going to be talking about balls. Here he goes. The black mat is the signature of the impact. Now, listen to this, of the Yucatan. Here it goes.
The signature of the impact, and it is analogous to the KT boundary, the Cretaceous-Tertiary boundary at the dinosaur extinction. What the hack of the Comet Research Group, and particularly Alan West, was let's go back to soil profiles at archaeological sites that extend beyond 13,000 years ago, reach back into the time of the Ice Age mammals and the Clovis people, and then let's test this soil just as the Alvarezes did. So the exact same science, many of the same proxies found by the Alvarez team to be enriched and magnified at that line, so you knew that something dramatic happened.
You see that black layer there? That could well be the black cap. There was a red bed, gray clay, and a black cap. I can't say it isn't. I can't say it is. But there was boundaries, and that's the Triassic era. Red bed, because it boiled all the flesh off. And MIT agrees with this now, that there was a boiling seas. The seas boiled. When that happened, all the creatures that had red blood, which was virtually all of them, the flesh boiled off and left the organs and so forth. But the flesh boiled off, and the fascia protected the organs, and they remained a lot. But the red bed was all the mud from the flesh, and then you had the organs and all the other kind of things, and then you had the black cap, which was the volcanism coming back down. But in a lot of places, you had gigantic creatures that died. It's just a fact. Now he's talking about this. You see, something dramatic happened. Yes.
And that chemistry had to come from space. We used the same thing at the Younger Dryas.
Well, he says it had to come from space. The impact came from space. I don't disagree with that, but not necessarily the chemistry. The chemistry was here on Earth, and it basically dissolved in the boiling oceans.
Right. In fact, they used spherules as well. There were countless.
Now, listen to this. He's talking about spherules. There were countless trillions. Because he says it hit and then it just rained down all of these and they turn into balls. I say no, those are the Neolithic signature, but they are from the smaller creatures. They are not the gigantic ones that we saw, which were the like fist-sized ones. These here, look at 30 micrometer, tiny, whoops, hold on. All right, so here he is. He's talking about countless trillions of these they found in this black mat.
Trillions of spherules, of droplets that rained back down.
See, he's saying they rained back down after the impact. No, I disagree with that.
After the impact into the Yucatan. The black mat is the signature of the impact, and
no, well, yes and no. The black mat is the little tiny tendon balls that are in the skin, which I just showed you before. That's these that boiled out of these creatures' bodies and made the red bed, or he calls it a black mat, which is the balls, basically. Don't forget, he calls these sphericals. They're round balls. And they rained down trillions of them because of this impact. Now, I say it was from the creatures being boiled. And these are what he calls the spherules, and they're everywhere. And that I agree with. And this is all being investigated again because nobody knew about this interstitium layer, this layer here, until I discovered it in the mud fossils. I wrote my paper in 2015. That was 2018. But here they are right here. Well, this is the layer that I was talking about, the fluid-filled highway. And here's this interstitium. Now, when you get way down into looking at the balls, these little balls have straps, these little tiny straps all over the place. And I show this in my belt. It's the coolest thing on a microscope. You can see all of the little belt fibers right where the hook goes through and it gets stretched. And you see all the little tiny fibers, and every one of them's attached to one of these balls. They're everywhere. Okay, check this out. These are the balls in the interstitium area. And these are the same little tiny balls with their straps. Now, remember, these are they're black and they're hard. Up here in the microscope, what you're seeing right there is literally the same thing. These are the black balls. This is in a leather belt. Now what they do with leather, they tan it. They soak it in some chemicals and so forth, and then they roll it and crush these balls. The ones inside the belt are not crushed. Now let me show you what this looks like, because remember I said every one of these is attached to a strap, and every one is. You would never see that. You'd never see that until you do this and go over here to where the belt comes through. You see, this is where the buckle comes through. You see the fibers? Every single one of these, every single one has a fiber. And they're so thick, these fibers, that when they unmat, they fluff like crazy. There's thousands of fibers in every one of those fibers. It's really, truly incredible. Let me come down pretty close. Maybe we can see a little better. You can't really see all that good with this one, but it's not bad. You see all the black balls? Every one of these straps literally has, it could be thousands of fibers in every single strap. You see that? And now this is the thickness. I'm going to try to twist this a little bit so you can see the thickness of the belt. You see, well, you really can't see it all that well, but I have some shots from the side. All those fibers, every single ball has a fiber. Every single one. And every single fiber has, I don't know how many fibers, but it's got a lot. I have some microscopic shots showing this. It's just stunning how many fibers in each fiber. Alright, I got the lights real low so you can see the black balls. You see up there, they're through the whole thickness of the belt. And this down at the bottom, folks, is those little straps attached to those balls. The whole bottom is where the balls are and the straps, as I showed you, I'm sure. That's the split part. Now, this is the actual thickness of the belt. And those are the actual black balls right there. This top here is literally the skin at the top of the belt. Hold on. I'm trying to do this freehand, very difficult. That is the skin at the top of the belt. Now let me see if I can focus in. Well, that's the black balls, that's the skin, that's the fibers in the bottom. Shown it a bazillion times. And they're the same fibers and the same black balls as these fibers on these black balls, which are the same as these balls up there. They're just gigantic. I mean, in these specimens, in us they're small, in the belt they're small too.